Oh, what's up, guys? Max here, and welcome back to another episode of Real Talk. Gonna try to switch things up a little bit this week and do a kind of a live broadcast instead of one that's just my voice over a bunch of gameplay. So let me know how you guys think this one goes, as I'm gonna be tackling a subject that I get a question of like so often, and it's how do you become fighting game community popular, or how do you become popular within the FGC? Before we get started, I want to give a big thanks to anybody that showed up at our Fanime Assist Me panel that took place this past weekend. I was also gone this weekend doing family stuff, so I wasn't able to attend, but I believe Matt and Mike were there, which is Doom and Wesker, and they were able to hold down the thing, and it went pretty well. If you guys did get a chance to check that out, let me know in the comments below how it went. So, moving on to today's subject, how do you become fighting game community popular or fighting game popular? So I'm just going to start off like a bullet point list of things that I think that would be important to understand, because this is a goal of a lot of people. When you get into playing like competitive fighting games, you want that popularity. You want to be known as the best, that person that everyone waits for when you get on stream, the guy that everyone looks for information about and stuff like that. Well, the easiest and best way is to be really good at a fighting game. But through this process of being really good at a fighting game, it isn't just about your skill at this point. There's a combination of being very good at something and also getting yourself out there. By the process of being very good at a fighting game, you're going to have to make yourself known by being on stream. So a lot of these huge fighting game events have these live streams that take place where they host and they get people on camera and do all this stuff. If you're a guy that isn't very known amongst the community and you go on live stream and you beat somebody that's very well known amongst the fighting game community, there's a good chance that you might actually get your name known very fast, and all of a sudden you're a dude that everyone's just waiting to see because you pulled out some crazy underdog victory. Being the underdog is also very important for getting yourself known. Now, there is a couple of stipulations that come with this. For the most part, when you are trying to get known in the fighting game community, if you're using the best characters in the game, or essentially the characters that a lot of people already are used to seeing, you know, in this case it would be Virgil, Doom, Wesker, you know, Magneto, Zero, and so forth. There's nothing wrong with using these characters if your goal is to win like a fighting game tournament and you're very good and you believe you're better than the other guys with those characters, but you're not going to be the most popular guy on the block or the most popular guy of the stream. I almost wish that they would do on streams MVP. Like, they do this in regular sports all the time. I would love to see a most valuable player for that weekend, of somebody that caused the most commotion, the most hype and stuff like that, to get some lesser people well known. So if you are a guy that uses those characters, don't expect your name to be known very fast unless you start winning major tournaments. The problem with this is that the cost of going to major tournaments and the expenses to you can be very rough. If you get sponsored by a bigger team and such, that kind of goes in the same boat, because you need to be known already to get sponsored, because sponsorships come with people that are already known. They're looking to get, a sponsor's looking to get their name out. You are a business decision in order to pay you for your business expenses or products or things like that. Sponsorship is another way, but I kind of think that that's way down the line in becoming fighting game community popular, because you already have to have established something for yourself. Now, there is other ways, and ways that have happened recently with some players that have kind of like come out of the woodwork, and it's just like, these guys, I can't wait to watch them play. And I'm very much one of those people that gets very excited about watching some of these dudes perform. I'll use an amazing example, which is Cain Blue River. Cain Blue River is a guy from Chile that pretty much does his best with the community's help to travel all across to all these major events and play the best of fighting games. He uses a very unconventional team in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 as well, a team that you do not see all the time, and through that process is very exciting to watch this guy play. In many situations, especially with the last tournament that took place, once Cain Blue River was out of the tournament at UFGT, I was kind of like, and I was kind of done with it at that point. I was pretty excited about the top 8 because Cain Blue River was in the top 8, but after he was gone, I was pretty much done watching at that point, because the presumable victors will be most likely the same presumable victors all over again. So that's a very good way. If you get extremely proficient with characters that you know, you're a good person, you're easy to talk to, a lot of people know about you because of the crazy characters you play, and you're good with those characters, bam, you are on a golden road to becoming instantly FGC popular. In my opinion right now, Cain Blue River is kind of like the people's champion when it comes to Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Everyone wants to see him win, and everyone wants to see him do good because he puts in all that time, and he deserves it. He absolutely deserves it. So this is the issue, and you guys are kind of seeing like an ongoing trend, is that got to be on stream, got to go to tournaments, got to make yourself known, got to have a lot of socializing, essentially, to make yourself big in fighting games, so that these people will put you on stream, and if you're exciting to watch, that's really what it comes down to. They want things that are exciting to watch so they can boost their numbers as well, as far as the stream providers. And that's what some of these guys do, and it brings in a lot of people. But since all these things are kind of like adding up, that you have to do all this stuff, well, how does a guy just on the internet, you know, how is just an online warrior, basic guy that doesn't really go to many tournaments, make himself known? And at that point, I would probably give myself as an example. Now, I don't like to be the definitive example of like the biggest and best as far as content producers in the fighting game community. I don't like that. Even though I've got like a lot of subscribers and a lot of people that watch the stuff that I do, I think that I might be able to give an example for people that are trying to become like FGC popular, a way to do that without having to be like top 8 material. Essentially what it comes down to is that only people seem to regard others as being like worthy of fighting game players if you make top 8s and stuff like that. But we're talking the smallest fraction of a percent of people that actually make top 8 in these fighting game tournaments compared to those that actually play and purchase them. It's a very small percentage, and if we were to only look at those people for what was good about a certain fighting game, there would not be much, because you know what those guys are doing? They're playing the game. They're playing video games all the time so they can make money when they go to these tournaments. Now, what I would like to give an example of is, I was not a top 8 tournament player by any means when I started this stuff up. This will just be using myself as an example for something that you guys can make yourself popular. What I really had was an idea. I really wanted to create something that would have been interesting, and my biggest goal whenever I started doing this YouTube thing, especially with Assist Me, because before that it was just raw gameplay and almost nothing else, I wanted to create something unique and special, which was the Assist Me series. And the Assist Me series was meant, and I could still think the day I thought of this, I want to create a tutorial series for a video game that will not only give people information about a fighting game that they might not know because the game was very early in its lifetime, but would also encourage people to keep watching because it has extra stuff. And through that extra stuff, they might actually be interested in the game itself. It's essentially the entire game plan of the Assist Me series for Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And it worked. It actually worked. People stuck around for the skits. They liked watching the characters interact with each other, and at the same time learned a lot about the video games that were being presented. Now, before that, I was doing a lot of stuff on YouTube, and I had been producing YouTube content between like Third Strike match videos, and I was like the first guy to put up tons of match videos on YouTube of Street Fighter 4 when it was out in the arcades. There was not many other people doing this yet until a couple months down the line. And there was nothing to be added to these videos, though. There was no personality, there was just raw gameplay and things like that. And nowadays, within the internet, that is available in so many places. It's just every single place you can go to is going to offer you gameplay or just basic match footage of some kind, that just offering that is not going to get you very far as becoming popular, especially within like the fighting game community. I don't want to talk this about YouTube directly. I kind of want to talk about getting popular or known in the community that we're discussing. And through doing that process a long time ago when not a lot of people were doing it, that's where a little bit of my popularity was. I was that guy that really liked to put up a bunch of videos on YouTube when I was roaming around SRK way back in the day. And things of that nature. There weren't a lot of these like front page heavy sites. SRK didn't really have a front page news feed like it did. It was just a forum, and places like event hubs didn't even exist anymore. So I was only really known through forum places and would get casually recognized amongst like tournaments I went to and stuff like that. But I was never a dude that made top 8 in tournaments all the time. I was the guy that you went to watch videos online sometimes. And that all changed when the Assist Me series started. However, there was a trade-off that once you started doing something like the Assist Me series or Online Warrior videos or all this stuff, it takes time. It takes quite a bit of time. So I made this conscious decision that, well, if I'd like to get myself known or to make this stuff even more popular, it seems like myself just going to tournaments isn't going to really help that in the long run. Like, it seems that a lot of people are being, like, interacting and talking with me during this Online Warrior stuff, and it seems to be assisting a lot of people, which I was really excited about. At that point, I was like, this is better than winning any of the tournaments I've won for fighting games in the past. And that's where I made that change. So it is possible. Like, that's where it really started for me. I had a very, very, very small following of people. Most of these guys watched me for Call of Duty stuff way back in the day on YouTube, and it all accumulated and kind of translated over to like working in fighting games for the greater 95% of the content I produce now. And I would not switch back for the world. And for you guys that are looking into doing something like this, it is possible for you to do something like this. But what you need to realize is that in order to be popular at something or to be really good at something, a lot of the times it takes more than just being good at a video game. That'll get you something personally and maybe with a very small group of peers, but if you want to become popular, like you want everyone to like know who you are and to come up and like say your name and be like, "Hey, what's up, man? I love the stuff you do." You might get a couple of those guys, but for the big like explosion that you might be looking for in popularity, it's not going to happen if you're just putting up like match videos. And if you're not even doing that, well, you can't expect that to happen really at all unless you win a huge, like, get into like top 32, top 8, and no one's ever heard of you within a major tournament, and then do that consistently. Hopefully this stuff makes sense to you guys. I believe I've had a little bit of experience with this over the past couple of years because I very much tried to turn, especially the channel that you're watching right now, into something that's a much more personal channel of mine and not just directly assist me about the excitement I have for fighting games, about getting really hype about things, and spreading the information, the knowledge I have, and the history with other people about fighting games and the videos I produce to get them excited too, because really that's the big goal of mine right now, besides the fact of getting new people introduced, is to introduce those new people to why this stuff is freaking awesome. And as long as you have a goal like that and you want to start growing a community of people that follow what you do, keep that in mind and try to preserve it over the long run. So hopefully this has helped you guys out a little bit when it comes to understanding what you need to do to become fighting game popular. If you really want to be one of those guys that makes your top 8 name into tournaments and stuff like that, you got to dedicate the time into playing your video game a whole bunch. And you're going to also have to have some cash on the side so that you can travel to some of these major tournaments, because just appearing at one major and making a top 8 is going to get you forgotten pretty quickly. You're going to be that guy that people remembered, but you're not going to be staying in the minds of others, you know what I mean? So that's essentially the best advice I can give you if you guys are looking to become a fighting game popular. It's also understanding what type of popularity do you want. Do you want to be that player that everyone else wants to be? Do you want to be the guy that's so good at a video game that you inspire other people to be good at a video game? Or do you want to be a teacher? Do you want to be a mentor? Do you want to inspire people through different variations of how to be either good at something or appreciate something that you might not have appreciated before? And I definitely took the latter side of that when I started working on YouTube videos and stuff like that. Thank you guys very much for watching. My name is Max, and I'll see you next week.